Because then you start to question yourself. What is svarga as a metaphor? Who gets to svarga? How do we define svarga for ourselves? And if we have seen svarga, do we know anyone who returns from svarga?
Yeah, someone does. The problem with descriptions of svarga is that it's a one-way ticket, right? You just go there. You don't come back and tell how it is. So we kind of have to believe whatever is described. But for the people of Mahabharata, the characters that inhabit the universe of Mahabharata, there is one character I can think of who actually went all the way and came back. In fact, he came back rejecting the svarga that was offered to him. I'm talking about Arjuna, of course. And some people say I'm a bit obsessed with Arjuna, the number of stories and perspectives I tell about him. But there is, he's a bit of an...
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Yeah. So, Arjuna, what happens in this story is that he... Okay, so first of all, the Dyuta Krida has happened. They have gone to exile. The war has not started yet. In the beginning of the war, a few years have been spent. And Yudhishthira and the rest of the brothers seem to be living in the delusion that 13 years later they'll go back and their property papers will be handed back to them and everything will be fine. Krishna is like, that's not happening. We are done. The time for friendly negotiation, return of your rights to your land are all over. The only way to make this happen is with a war now. And you handed out your entire kingdom to Duryodhana and walked out. 13 years later, people would have forgotten about your existence only. Nobody would know or care that you were once a Chakravarti Samrat and then come and support you and all of that. So whatever you get, you've got to figure this out for yourself. And therefore, since the rest of the brothers seem to be happy living in the forest and having great time and saying, oh, the weather here is really cool and all of that, Krishna advises Arjuna that you go and collect divine weapons. And Arjuna says, okay, I need to do this. So in an exile, he goes into another within the exile. And he goes there and his job now becomes to meet all the gods or suras. Again, we use the words God and heaven once in a while. Those are not appropriate in a Mahabharata context. But the gods of fire and water and wind and death and all of that, Arjuna decides I need to go there and collect weapons from them and kind of strengthen our side. So one way to reach that point is to go talk to Indra because he's the king. And if the input comes from Indra that all of you help out my son, because Arjuna happens to be the son of Indra also, maybe they will help. So that's the strategy here.
So go to the manager has been there for
Yes. Can I talk to your manager? That was the real question. So what happens is that Arjuna is looking for Indra in a place he has been told to go and check. And what happens is that Indra comes, but not as Indra, but dressed as a Brahmana, and says, you should pray to Shiva first. And if Shiva is happy enough to give you something, then maybe the dwellers of Svarga or Indraloka can consider helping you out. You have to prove your worth first. That's a long story, but I'll cut it short and say that Arjuna performs penance, impresses Shiva. Shiva comes in as Pashupati, that's what he's known in that form, and gives him Pashupatastra. One tiny incident that I like about this is how there's a fight that happens between Shiva and Arjuna starts losing. Call it confidence, call it arrogance. As he starts losing to Shiva, he thinks, you know what, this has to be Shiva. He's dressed as a hunter, by the way. Shiva is dressed as a hunter, and in his mind, Arjuna thinks this has to be Shiva, because which mortal can defeat me? right? So there's a bit of that also. Anyway, he gets the Pashupatastra, and when he gets it, when Shiva has kind of approved, the head of the department, so to speak, the people from Svarga have, the gods from Svarga have no choice but to help him out now. So Indra sends him a divine chariot, and he ascends to Indraloka in it. So while there are a few more examples of people who went to Svarga in their physical body, this is one of the most well-known and recognizable story where Arjuna goes to Indraloka, and there he convinces Indra to give him a weapon. He gives him the Aindreya weapon, right? And then Arjuna says, I need a few more. So he calls in all his friends also. And they start giving him more weapons. Vayu, the god of wind, gives him a weapon called Vayuvya. Agni, the god of fire, gives him Agneya. Varuna, the god of water, gives him Varuni. Yama, the god of death, gives him Yami, and so on and so forth. He collects a lot of these weapons. And he also collects weapons from other celestial beings like the Gandharvas also. And when he's got all of this, Indra gives him another offer. Indra gives him an offer, you know what? And he does this and expands his throne to become double the size. I've been sitting here telling, not telling these stories, I've become a little personal, but I've been sitting here and ruling the three worlds by myself. You are my son. I've seen how worthy you are. Why don't you sit by my side and let's together rule these three worlds? The Svarga, the Bhumi, and the Patal. We'll rule all of them together. Arjuna says, done. So they sit together, spend months up to a year or so in doing the duties that the Indra is responsible for. I say the Indra because Indra is not just like one person, it's more like a post that needs to be filled in, right? The king of Svarga, the king of all the gods, is called Indra, and it happens to be that this Indra, whose name is Purandara, is responsible for being the Indra now. But if he is either not worthy or missing or leaves or the Manvantara itself changes, then someone else may come and sit on that chair also, right? So now these two are sitting, Indra and Arjuna, and they are ruling. And about a year in, Arjuna says, you know what? This is not what I signed up for. I came here because I wanted to collect weapons to help my brothers. And now that I have got it, I need to go back to earth. And Indra does that double take, like, you serious
What?
right now?
What? What?
You're telling me that every mortal in the mortal world is living every day and every moment of their life hoping to come to here, just get a glimpse of this world, and you are sitting on the throne and you just want to walk away from this. And for the people who think I'm a little obsessed with Arjuna, I am, because he says yes. Because my job is to help my brothers out, and after doing all this and collecting all these weapons, I become selfish and stay back. Now how do they feel? There's a bit of a Draupadi angle also here. But Arjuna says, I need to go back, and all the gods come together, have a bit of a send-off party for him, and they give him one final task and say that these two asuras that together we have not been able to eliminate, but since you now have the power of all of us, we have given our most important divine weapon to you, you've become collectively as powerful as all of us, so can you take care of this problem for us? So Arjuna goes, kind of pays the Guru Dakshina, so to speak, returns the favor that has been made for him, and at the end of it, he actually comes back down to the mortal world, right? And you're talking about who has seen and come back from the svarga. I think this is one. I don't know. I can't think of anyone who would let go of a chance at immortality.
So